Picture 1993. Flannel shirts are a legally recognized personality trait. Jurassic Park is redefining summer blockbuster, and my mother still thinks a gigabyte is an exotic fish. Into that neon-lit swamp of pop culture drops Wing Commander, privateer, materializing like a battered tramp freighter, jumping in with its shields flickering, and a cargo hold full of agricultural supplies that definitely don't smell like broccoli. Is the game bizarre or classic? Both. Equal parts freeform sandbox and shoot first, patch your sound blaster IRQ later. Underrated. Ask any old school sim jockey and they'll swear it's the primordial soup for every Trade Fight Explorer title that followed. Overrated? Watch the frame rate chug when half a dozen pirate-flown Talons swarm you and decide for yourself. Fundamental, only if you care about the DNA that eventually mutated into Freelancer and, by spiritual osmosis, Star Citizen. Negligible? Tell that to my childhood joystick, whose trigger still squeaks from those endless Orion broadside runs. Rhetorical question, did I reinstall DOSBox just to hear the MIDI bar jazz of New Detroit? Self-answer. Obviously, wouldn't you? Historical context origin systems in the early 90s was the Willy Wonka of PC gaming, hurling golden tickets faster than my allowance could regenerate. They just shipped Wing Commander 2, had Ultima 7 in the oven, and were busy negotiating an Electronic Arts acquisition that would soon plaster an EA company beneath the Serpent and Shield logo. Into that corporate gravity well-dropped privateer, directed by Joel Manners under the long shadow of series creator Chris Roberts. The pitch, take the cinematic dogfights of Wing Commander, cut the military leash, toss the player into the off-grid Gemini Sector with nothing but a coffee-stained ship registry and a debt larger than a Ferengi's ego. Shipping on MS-DOS in September 1993, North America first, Europe practically nanoseconds later. It arrived amid a glut of space sims. Elite 2, Frontier promised astronomy-grade physics, Star Control 2 served up narrative swagger, and Microprose's Strike Commander hogged every Sound Blaster channel like a diva, yet Privateer landed neatly between those poles. Less physics lecture than Elite, way more freedom than the scripted Wing Commander mainline, my own arcade-adjacent memory, an XP arcade corner PC nicknamed Gemini, because even the hardware techs were nerds, looping the intro on a Trinitron CRT Origin FX logo flashes, a battered Tarsus limps across the screen, and the clerk yells, $5 an hour, includes joystick rental, no refunds if you die to retros. I plunk down my crumpled Lincoln, bargaining that $5 represents either 2 slices of pepperoni or 3 virtual tons of Brilliance narcotics. Choices were made, cholesterol levels were saved. What made Privateer feel counterculture was its open structure. This wasn't a linear climb through killboard ranks. It was a proto-RPG, where you could escort mining barges, smuggle contraband, mine asteroids poorly, or blow away Confederation patrols for lunch money. Origin even shipped a separate speech pack, 3 high-density 3.5-inch floppies of compressed dialogue, about 6 megabytes installed, that turned bartender one-liners into gravelly gold and forced me to delete half my MOD collection just to fit it on my 170 megabyte Connor hard drive. Because why not ship DLC on floppies a decade before the term existed? Mechanics boot up, and your Greedo adjacent protagonist Grayson Burrows. Call sign brown hair, because Origin's portrait pipeline evidently ran out of dye. Your starter whip is the humble Tarsus, a beige lunchbox with subpar shields, a reactor that sighs louder than an overworked barista, and a command chair so roomy it needs fuzzy dice to fill the negative space. My absurd through line for this review is the Tarsus's mythical coffee maker, canonically not shown, but spiritually brewing gallons of sludge beside the nav console. How else do you explain the brown haze in the cockpit art? Every pre-jump checklist in my head starts with that drip gurgle metronome. Movement is classic Origin, Newtonian physics filtered through Hollywood inertia. Afterburners roar, velocity clamps at a cinematic ceiling, and pressing the spacebar toggles a quasi-auto aim that would make Han Solo cry foul. Dogfights pivot around energy management, guns drain a shared capacitor, shields recharge at glacial speed, and afterburners guzzle fuel like a 1970 Pontiac GTO with a hole in the tank. Imagine the elegant ballet of X-Wing after chugging 2 cans of Jolt Cola. That's Gemini Sector chaos. Trading is spreadsheet chic. Dock at New Constantinople's commodity exchange. Thumb through a text mode list of luxury goods, artifacts, furs, medical supplies. Wink. And pray the RNG economy doesn't emulate 1929 Wall Street. Prices fluctuate per system, loosely inspired by manual lore, but mostly governed by did the dev wake up cranky algorithms. I once hauled 30 units of computer chips from Junction to Oxford for a 40% markup, only to be interdicted by 3 Kilrathi Dralthi. The Tarsus detonated before the stay clamps even released. Morale, never trust cat people, or at least install heavier shields. Mission acquisition happens in seedy bars, rendered with VGA glamour, static backgrounds, rotoscoped patrons, dialogue that oscillates between noir cool and Saturday morning cartoon. A fixer leans in, I need a shipment of Nerve Agent delivered to Oakham by 0600. Rhetorical, is he paying enough to cover hull insurance? Auto answer, definitely not, but you'll take the job anyway because that Centurion upgrade fund won't fill itself. The Centurion, holy grail of player ships. 4 guns forward, missiles in every pocket, afterburners hot enough to singe sprite edges. Its purchase marks the rite of passage from scrappy courier to outer rim terror. Dissenters swear by the Orion, a gunship so over-armored it flies like a brick. Fans claim you can simply ram pirates and watch them burst. The pragmatic hug the galaxy, beloved for its turret and cargo capacity. Privateer doesn't gate missions behind hull choice, but the power curve is real. Tackling the endgame Steltek arc in a stock Tarsus is like challenging Dark Souls Manus with a broken dagger. Possible, but only if you hate free time. Combat loops revolve around nav points linked by autopilot. Engage, watch cockpit glass flash stroboscopically, then drop into real-time dogfighting against pirate Talons, Kilrathi Dralthi, bounty hunting demons, or those zealously lethal retro-religious fanatics called the Church of Man. Their rally cry, death to all machines. Shouted, of course, while piloting machines. Pop quiz irony, 10 out of 10. AI on higher difficulty jousts with afterburner passes and deflection shots long before Freelancer codified the tactic. Veteran pilots learn to roll the ship so dorsal shields soak railgun salvos while the nose tracks a firing solution. Joystick twist is optional, but strongly recommended unless you enjoy carpal tunnel speed tapping. Between sorties, you explore hand-painted station menus. Commodities here, ship dealer there, mission computer everywhere. New Detroit's skyline scrolls behind dusty windows, while Oxford's academic hub pipes in harpsichord muzak. The minimalist UI hides surprising sim depth. Plot custom nav chains, juggle tractor beams, swap fusion drives for ion engines, or bolt contraband pods that trick Confederation custom scans. Tabletop pleasure seeps into poring over spec sheets, only to realize you miscalculated mass limits and can't afford the landing fee planetside. Cue emergency distress call, maybe an afterburner dash through an asteroid belt. Those rotating sprites love to one-shot your armor. And the illicit thrill spikes. All that unscripted mayhem overlays a skeleton plot. Grayson inherits a mysterious alien artifact. Corporations, Kilrathi warlords, and outlaw sects all want it. A breadcrumb trail leads to ancient Steltek technology older than human history. Story missions unlock diagonally via rumor chains. Chat with a refuel tech on New Detroit. Bounce to Perry Naval Base. Bribe a smuggler on Pentonville. Rinse and hyper repeat. It's Star Wars Cantina grafted onto an Indiana Jones relic hunt, minus Harrison Ford's hat, but plus a speech pack bartender who sounds suspiciously like Ron Perlman in a tin bucket. Just when you've racked up 1,000,000 credits and a bounty board's worth of grudges, Origin drops the 1994 expansion Righteous Fire, a 3.5-inch blast of new weapon mounts, upgraded shields, and a quest line that catapults you from scavenger to anti-cult crusader. Think of it as Privateer NG+. Same Gemini Sandbox, now with zealots wielding corrupted Steltek blasters and a finale that makes your Centurion feel undergunned all over again. Minor rant. Why must every sequel yank my power fantasy like a galactic IRS audit? Legacy and influence. Here's the punch. Privateer outsold several mainline Wing Commander SKUs, parking at number 2 on PC Data's September 93 chart and topping Computer Gaming World's reader poll 2 months later. Critics praised its Ultima-like freedom and moral ambiguity, rare in an era when most space sims barked, here's level 3-4, blow 7 drones, go home. They also roasted its picky sound card setup. One incompatible IRQ could mute half the speech pack. Ask me how many jumper pins I bent reslotting my SB16. Influence rippled. Digital Anvil's Freelancer cannibalized the Freelance Mission Plus trading loop. LucasArts' X-Wing Alliance borrowed the multi-ship upgrade arc, and community builds like Privateer. Gemini Gold reconstructed the whole affair in the open-source Vega Strike engine. Even BioWare's Mass Effect, by developer admission, peaked at Privateer when designing Normandy's star map Rome. And let's not forget Chris Roberts' magnum opus Star Citizen. Kickstarter backers salivate precisely because Roberts promises the spiritual successor to the game we're dissecting now. Some call that cyclical hype. I call it cosmic justice for all those hours spent hawking surplus furs to agricultural backwaters. So why does Privateer stay semi-niche? Partly because blockbuster FMV sequels, Wing Commander 3 co-starred Mark Hamill, and genuine Kilrathi fur technology eclipsed it. Partly because open-ended sims hibernated until broadband MMOs revived the sandbox itch. Modern newcomers balk at its keyboard-only cockpit, at VGA sprites that smear on LCDs, at a difficulty curve that expects you to memorize 56 key bindings. Yet ask any retro forum to name its top 5 space trading games. Privateer never drifts far. Its design DNA fertilizes roguelike shooters, loot grind RPGs, and survival craft hybrids, upgrade loop, risk-reward shipping runs, persistent ship hull, perma-death suspense. Sound familiar, FTL fans? Closing paragraph plus score. Where does that leave us in 2025? Dual booting Windows 11 and DOSBox joystick clamped to an IKEA desk louder than a bag of popcorn in a silent cinema. Wing Commander. Privateer is simultaneously Relic and Rosetta Stone, a crusty VGA disc that whispers future design language through IRQ static. The clunky cockpit panels, the price spike dopamine hit, the smug adrenaline when you dust a trio of retros with a dual tachyon salvo. These moments land harder than a shipping crate of brilliance dropped on an agricultural moon's black market. Yes, it's eccentric. Yes, the plot resolution drops off faster than a Kilrathi morale bar. And yes, that imaginary Tarsus coffee maker still leaks grounds onto my HUD. But fundamental? Absolutely. Under or overrated? Let's split the difference like a well-timed afterburner strafe. 8.6 out of 10. Not flawless, but radiant in ambition. An aging star whose light refracts through every modern sim that dares whisper, be whatever spacer you want to be. And if you disagree, I'll be in New Detroit's creamiest bar, sipping oil black espresso and waiting for a fixer to shout, Jump Point 4 is hot. Some habits drill deeper than shield capacitors.